The fantasy news must flow again. Ooh, welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host Daniel Green, and today we have a delightful little bushel of fantasy news to pick our way through. But we're going to be starting it off with an update. Who won the actual Horizons for Homeless Children Challenge? That's right, we had a bunch of creators come in and throw their hats into the ring to get you all to donate to help decide what my next tattoo was for charity. Brandon Sanderson, Pierce Brown, Nerdforge, Man Carrying Thing, ML Wong, Mr. Clean, so many wanted to help us, and y'all, we raised over $23,000 for Horizons. Just such an incredible amount, and I'm happy to say we do have a final winner I'm going to announce as well. The next tattoo I will be getting is, drumroll please, it's a Cosmere tattoo. Sanderson threw his hat in the ring late, but he's Sanderson, so he immediately blew past everybody else. And I will officially be getting a Cosmere tattoo to close on out this campaign. Go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section down below, just some ideas I can go through of what I should get. And by no means does this mean Horizons is not open for more donations. They would absolutely love for people to volunteer as well if you happen to be located in Massachusetts. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the first news story of the day, starting with a cover reveal from the Fantasy Hive. The tweet reads, "We are honored today to have the opportunity to reveal the cover for David Ragg's upcoming novel, The Company of the Wolf, sequel to The Hunters." And this book is described as seeking a better life. Ree and Giovanni have traveled west into the mountains and left their past and their troubles behind. But new places bring new problems. And when they stumble across a lone traveler under bandit attack, they make the mistake of lending a hand. Forced to take refuge in the traveler's village, they quickly find allies among the lush, wooded hills. But then the true nature of the bandits is revealed. With winter approaching and a vengeful company of mercenaries circling like wolves, Ree and Giovanni must uncover the secrets of this peaceful valley or risk the ruin of it all. Oh! That's a good pitch. With art by Gavin Reese, I really dig this. If you see the full spread, just a wonderful put together art piece with a big old doggo. You love to see a fellowship take the spotlight, and this actual style that it's like almost got the coloring of watercolor, but it also reminds me of like some of the best graphic novel art I've seen. Mwah! Well done. Seriously though, follow Fantasy Hive. But for this next cover reveal, we're going to be jumping on over to Orbit and taking a look at The Scarlet Throne by Amy Liao, with art by Marcos Shin. Pitched as, The Scarlet Throne is a dark political epic fantasy full of scheming demons, morally gray heroines, talking cats, and cutthroat priests. It's an all-around delicious tale of power and corruption. To remain a god, she will become a demon. It's funny, I should enjoy the longer pitches we get for books in some of these posts sometimes that are, a bit more, it's like a multiple tweet chain, or you got to go to the website to see paragraphs. But whenever they do that short, I can fit it in a character limit pitch, I find myself more interested. And I maybe shouldn't be, but I don't know. I just it's confidence. There's something about it that's confident. But this is going to take us on over to some Netflix news. And this one I'm kind of covering just for my own tickles and giddies, because we have had our first poster drop for season 2 of Arcane. And it is probably taking my favorite poster we got for season 1 and doing a bit of a flip for it that I think is awesome. Won't say anything more because spoilers, but way to pull at those emotions that you laid the seeds for with season 1. Gah! And I'll just be willing to say for here on the record that season 2 of Arcane is probably my most anticipated show of this year. I cannot wait to get into it. Season 1, still like a 9 to a 10 for me. And no, I will not play League of Legends because of how many people who play League of Legends told me, don't.
You'll regret it for the rest of your life.
But now we're going to transition into a part of the news I'm going to call the uncomfy news. This is just some uncomfortable headlines we're getting about how we consume the fantasy and science fiction adaptations or media we enjoy. The first of which is going to be coming down to, we gotta talk about it all the time, AI. The Japan Association of Translators has expressed a discontentment with the way the industry is currently leaning into the utilization of artificial intelligence, stating, "Based on our experience and subject matter expertise, it is the opinion of this organization that AI translation is extremely unsuitable for translating high-context, story-centric writing, such as novels, scripts, and manga. Quick and easy AI translation not only risks hurting the translation industry or the manga industry, it is not in the country's best interests. Our organization is deeply concerned that the public and private sector initiative to use AI for high-volume translation and export of manga will damage Japan's soft power." That is such an interesting angle to take and not one I saw coming. For those of you who aren't aware what soft power is, if you've played Civ and you've won through like non-violent means, soft power, kind of. It's a little more nuanced than that, but like, we're not political experts here. I'm gonna keep it that definition. Basically, they're saying like, it hurts our culture to make our art not as good, and so therefore our soft power around the world could be diminished. Great clean left hook in the middle of this ongoing debate that I didn't see coming, and I think is a valid thing to put forth. That being said, though, this is still a tremendous uphill fight. I'm obviously no expert in the translation artistry, but I can imagine, yeah, there's a lot of the little subtle nuances that for now, artificial intelligence can't do. Probably can get about 60-70% of the way there. And I'm imagining a lot of these big companies who want to do quick translations are going to try and adapt a business model where they use artificial intelligence. Then you bring in these people who used to do all the work to get to that last 100% and try and get the translation out faster. While I'm not the biggest fan of AI, I'm also a realist, and I'm willing to say this is kind of a cat's out of the bag, Pandora's box is open situation. I hope that we do see internationally and here in the United States, lawmakers catch up and start passing laws to mitigate the level of damage that can be done to smaller and larger industries like these. Do I think we can avoid this future though? Not at all. It's going to happen. There's gray lines to this, and it's just going to become we all as individuals sit back and wait and see how turbulent it gets before the people we put in charge do their jobs. That's the end of it. That's it. That's all I had to say. Now there's a ongoing situation with creator Mike Flanagan that is kind of a bigger deal than it might come across at first glance. So this has a bit of history to it. Let's talk about it. Way back in 2016, Mike Flanagan released the movie Hush directly onto Netflix. It became a bit of a cult classic, but recently Hush was taken down from the platform, and because it was a Netflix original movie, has essentially been completely unavailable. Obviously, this is a bit of a problem for Mike Flanagan, someone who cares about his artwork and wants it to be out there, but finally it seems that Mike Flanagan has found a new way to get Hush into people's hands, and most importantly, it seems for him, as a big advocate for physical media, Hush will be available for the first time in a DVD Blu-ray format. But why should you care as a speculative fiction fan? And why am I covering this? Well, one, this quote that's suddenly becoming a headline right now is actually from a blog post Mike Flanagan made back in 2023. I agree with it and it applies to this situation, but this isn't something new. It's just like a part of the story that's now headlines because algorithms. Yes, he did say that Netflix was hostile towards physical media a year ago. I do like the image of like a Netflix CEO fighting a DVD. But the reason this situation has bigger implications is there's a lot of really big hit shows right now that are of course fantasy or science fiction that haven't gotten the physical release yet, including Mike Flanagan's entire series on Netflix, including Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, and Midnight Mass. But we've seen other streaming services like Prime go ahead and do their own physical release runs. Obviously, Amazon's gonna do that. Sell. All right. But Netflix, while they used to do box sets for things like Stranger Things, seems to be actively pulling away from giving any of their originals physical media releases. They want to make it so you have to keep paying paying for their platform to be able to access these now like pop culture classic shows. This is contributing to something we've been seeing going on for a while where some shows and movies have literally just vanished from being available. All this to say, like, yes, if you're a really big fan of the Wheel of Time show, the Fallout show, any of the ones that have been fortunate enough to get physical releases, it still could be worth buying those physical pieces of media. In fact, maybe more so, not that I think like Fallout or Wheel of Time are really likely to vanish altogether right now. But the point remains, and it's great that Mike Flanagan has finally been able to get his movie, one of his like breakout films, back to being available to his fans. And if you have not seen Hush, watch it alone at night by yourself. It's not all negative news though when it comes to streaming, and I'm specifically happy to say that when it comes to Netflix, they've actually said they're gonna finish a show. I know. Oh my God. That's because Netflix has promised that Three Body Problem is going to be getting 3 full seasons to finish out the series and adapt fully the source material. Netflix is going to finish a good speculative fiction show.
Did hell freeze over or what?
I'm not going to be able to do a full review of Three Body Problem. It's just too late in the algorithm. I got a bunch of projects on the plate and I'm focusing on my writing, but my quickie review, which I think I've already given a little bit before, is just, yes, it's awesome. Go watch it. And now, in terms of some other amazing science fiction news, we have also had it confirmed that filming has begun on Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling, directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Yes, Phil Lord and Chris Miller's the one behind Spider-Verse, the ones behind the Lego movies. Mad jealous of Andy Weir, who's able to go for adaptations of his work from Ridley Scott's probably just best movie of the last decade or so, The Martian, to now jumping over to Phil Lord and Chris Miller coming off Spider-Verse success to then handle Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. Dude. And it looks like this is still set for a 2026 release. But before we get into some quick Alien news, I would just like to say that Kayla has put together and released on Patreon a fan fiction tier list where I go through and talk about all the tropes and my thoughts on them. It was a delightful time. Here's a clip. You can decide whether or not to cut or keep this, but this is true. When I was like 14, I think it's very natural, I wanted to see like porn of the books I was reading.
Oh my God, yeah, no, that's what half a fanfic
normal.
is.
So the only fanfic I ever read was a fanfic about Wheel. So go ahead and check that out on Patreon for $1 if you want. We're doing a lot more content over there to try to like help fight lower ad rates, and it's been going amazingly. Thank you for everyone who's been signing on up. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
But in the final major science fiction news of the day, we have also gotten our first full-length trailer for Alien Romulus. Produced by the legendary director, this series is looking, from at least with this trailer and the pitch they put along with it, to take a kind of step back from Ridley Scott's epic storytelling vision in this universe and instead tell a smaller slasher story of a group of young space colonizers who come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. The series is created by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Schutz, and I'm just a sucker for Alien. I even love the bad entries. No, like the bad entries. My brother and I bonded over this franchise a lot when we were kids, and the xenomorph is, I've said many times, my favorite creature design ever, but also on top of that, the aesthetics of like this corporate dystopia, I think is just such a, I get immersed in this universe so easily. Sound design of the motion sensor, it's just perfect. It's perfect even when it's bad. It's perfect. It doesn't make sense, but I don't care. I'm sticking by my guns here. I will say, the trailer made the choice of having the iconic slogan for Alien, "In space, no one can hear you," but instead of having Scream come up, they just ended "hear you" and then the word alien. So I actually read it as "in space, no one can hear you, alien," before I realized they're just going like, oh, in space, no one can hear you.
Not at all.
But now I'm delighted to say I get to end this fantasy news with something a little bit special. Opening my own Kickstarter. I backed my own project, waited along with you all, and I get to open my own Kickstarter with you. So if you back the Neon Ghost project, again, thank you so much. That means the world. It's currently available just now for everybody to get their hands on at shop.wraithmark.com. Well, let's see what Wraithmark sent me. What if I have like a broken bad one? That will be so embarrassing. Man, this one got shipped around a lot. Oh, beautiful. And then finally, the Coupe de Gras. Neon Ghosts, A Witch's Sin. I just got to open my Kickstarter, and it's not like the last time when I thought it was me opening my Kickstarter, and instead it was me opening a prototype. Which, by the way, we still don't know why I got. That's a story for another time. No one was supposed to have sent me that. But yay, my book! Thank you everyone so much. This is amazing, and I look forward to trying to go trad with my next book and sharing that experience with you as well. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace!